Okay, so this goes back to neurolinguistics a little bit. When you're talking to people or you're writing, a lot of you are talking in digital language. You forget the fact that we're human beings. Human beings, we have 5 sensory inputs, right? We're visual, auditory, kinesthetic, right? Gustatory, and olfactory, right? So we have smell, right? Eyes, ears, nose, mouth, touch. And so in sales, the more that you can engage neurology, the easier it is for the brain to process your features and benefits, right? So instead of saying, oh, we save you $30,000 per year, that doesn't really have any sensory input to that. Now, what you could say, and we'll talk about this later, is an involvement question. What are you going to do with that money? How do you see yourself? How do you see yourself spending that money? Right? And now they see themselves spending $30,000. They are engaged a lot more than we can save you $30,000. Right? So what you want to make sure is when you're talking to people that you're using sensational language. Sense. S-E-N-S-E. Engage the senses. Now, we don't have time to go through a lot of this because it's very detailed, but I can give you enough to where it'll impact the way that you communicate. All of us typically have a preferred learning style. Some of us are visual, right? Where we have to see things. Some of us are auditory, which means we have to hear things. We learn by hearing better. And some of us are kinesthetic, which we have to actually involve ourselves, touch and feel the product or service. There are ways to diagnose and see how somebody is either one or the other, but because I don't have time to teach you everything, what you do is you incorporate, and in the beginning you don't know what somebody is. So make sure you incorporate, for visual people in a presentation, especially when you're doing a presentation with everybody, that visual people, you want to use visual aids because a picture is worth? Right, so their uptake is really quick, and so you want to make sure that you get them there. Auditory people, there's a whole industry created for auditory people, right? Books on tape. These are people that prefer to listen to information than to read information. I'm one of those people, right? Like I'll have like my CFO send me a report, and I don't want to see the report. I need to talk it through, right? I process information by conversation. Differently than somebody who's digital, they just want to see the numbers. They're visual, but they're also digital in terms of they just want to self-assess. And so for visual people, you use visual aids. For auditory people, testimonials are the most important thing. So that's why you put testimonials within your presentations because that's going to trigger to auditory. That's how I make decisions. Like right now, I'm the CEO and I own a nutraceutical/pharmaceutical company. What do I know about that? Nothing. But I have to run the company. I have to make good strategic decisions. So I rely on people who are the smartest people, because to be smarter than me is easy, but to be the smartest people out there to do what they do, I need to leverage their experience. So the way that I check them through is I validate their references. I validate their work. I validate where they're published. And so you can hire people that are smarter than you, but they have to prove that to you. And so what I care about is testimonials. Some people are kinesthetic. They need to involve themselves in the buying process. So these are people where samples are critical. These are people, if you're selling software, you have them do the demonstrations. You get them to touch your product or service. So in your advanced sales, you want to bring all this sensation into the call because it's going to really speed up their ability to intake information. And then if you really want to be good, you figure out what that person is and you twist the presentation. You actually speak in visual terms or you speak in auditory terms to somebody. And now think about when you're doing that and you're translating it, your value proposition into their preferred learning style, how much quicker that you're going to be able to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to communicate. Very, very, very important.